Welcome to Titan Talks. We are excited to host you and help you make memorable and impactful speeches. This workshop series should prepare you to feel more comfortable and confident in your presentation abilities, which you can translate to any future endeavor. In addition to honing practical skills, we want to give you the opportunity to speak about subjects that you care about. We are a diverse student body. We have a lot of unique perspectives and life experiences. However, for the majority of us, we go to class, listen to our professors, and then we used to rush back to the parking garage. Titan Talks is our opportunity to create a sense of community, benefit from shared diversity, and connect with one another through our stories. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and move on to the next slide, which I totally know how to do. Yes, oops, missed it. That's Jen. She looks lovely. This is me. My name is Mark Wax, and I am the director of Titan Talks. I'm so happy to have you all here for our inaugural session. A little bit about me before we start. I was a professional ballet dancer for 10 years in America, Canada, and Europe before coming to CSUF. I've performed on stages for thousands of people and occasionally had to sing and speak in the productions. Many times I was expected to entertain high-level donors during premiere after parties. I grew up lower middle class on a farm in Montana, and yet I had to connect with these members of high society. I never let myself feel intimidated, and having the ability to confidently present myself personally and professionally opened many doors and led me across the world. I'm interested in public speaking because I recognize the power of communication, and I want to use my experiences to help you tell your story. Now I'm going to pass it off to Jen.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jen, and I am a third year at Cal State Fullerton and one of the 2 marketing executives for Titan Talks. I am deeply in love with self-development because I want to advocate a voice for sharing our stories. For a large portion of my life, I had always been eager to share stories about my experiences, but I had trouble expressing my thoughts in a way that would be understood. Over time, I began to understand the importance of mastering public speaking because of the long-term benefits it can bring in the different areas of my life, such as my career and communicating with my peers. I believe acquiring a strong skill set in public speaking allows us to articulate and express ourselves effectively in whatever we want to talk about. And I am very passionate about Titan Talks because this is a community where everyone is accepted, where friendships can be formed, and individual growth can happen. So let's get started into Brainstorming 101. So today's presentation is Brainstorming 101. We will get your mind and creativity flowing as you hone in on your story and a topic you want to present. We suggest that you choose something that matters to you and is personal. We encourage you to write your speech for about 3 to 5 minutes long in length. And at this time, we will give you about a minute to take out a pen and paper to write down what inspires you and insights you may acquire. And I'll hand it over to Mark afterwards.
Yeah, so just if you want to jot down some things, some insights or thoughts, also this PDF, or we're going to make this presentation available as a PDF through the link tree on Instagram. So don't feel like you have to write down what we're showing you, but instead just like let your brain start thinking. Okay, so anyway, our main mode of communication is storytelling. We use stories every day to transfer information and connect with one another. Telling stories is our primary way of teaching and learning. By practicing your storytelling, you're empowering yourself to advocate for your ideas, your perspective, and your values. A quick note as we begin is that we have made the PowerPoint available. Exactly, so that's good. Now let's first look at the practical benefits of public speaking. It's important to keep these in mind throughout the workshop so that you receive the most benefits. Okay, so benefits of public speaking. Strengthens your oral communication skills. This applies to many areas of life, including relationships, disputes, and speaking your mind. It improves your chances of being hired. You will be more impressive during interviews. And when you think about it, the majority of interviewing is storytelling. They will often say, they'll often ask you to tell them about a time when. And then career advancement. You will stand out at work and you will be more comfortable speaking up and presenting your ideas. Through practice, you will look more professional and showcase composure. So this is what Titan Talks was envisioned to do, to bring you these practical skills while you get to speak on subjects you actually want to talk about. We hope that you will leave this series with more interest and less fear when it comes to public speaking. Now, a quick word from Jen about keeping Titan Talks a safe space for everyone.
Hate speech will not be tolerated. This means discrimination, homophobia, racism, and sexism is not welcomed here. Titan Talks is a compassionate place where students can share, learn from each other, and grow. We stand firmly with Fullerton Title IX guidelines. Let's get into it now. What are the purposes of public speaking and giving a speech? Our purpose is to connect with one another. This is because stories have power. People remember narratives. They remember how you make them feel. Another purpose is to share your perspective. Unique perspectives challenge the status quo and invite all of us to think in new ways. The final purpose is to persuade, to motivate, and to encourage. This is teaching and helping listeners learn from your experiences. If one of the purposes resonates with you, this is a great time to jot it down as your speech intention. And now I'll hand it over to Mark for the quote.
Cool. Thanks, Jen. So this is a quote by Dr. Karen Shialaba, who is a CSUF professor of religious studies. People remember stories. They build credibility and establish a clear point of view. They tell your audience who you are, what you stand for, why you care about what you have chosen to share, and what you want your audience to learn, and how you want to be understood. Sharing stories broadens our perspective, helps us find places of agreement, and supports us in discovering connections that may not have been immediately obvious. It is through the sharing of stories that we start to question our own assumptions and open our minds through the process of inquiry and disclosure. So this is just to really show you like how powerful your stories can be and to encourage you as you continue on with us. Okay, Jen?
Thank you, Mark. No matter what the purpose of the speech is, remember to think about your audience. Think about your story as a gift. The best gifts are the ones that are considerate and heartfelt. Think about how to engage someone in your story and provide them with authenticity to garner their interest and to allow them to become invested in your story because they will have a greater takeaway from it. And in addition to considering your story or topic in relation to your audience, we want to announce that both President Virgie and his wife will be at the virtual performance. So that's exciting. So maybe save the racy material for a boba date with a friend. We are now going to get into our brainstorming exercises. Please write down anything that comes to mind. So, stories. Think about some things that make you, you. Think about what experiences you consider formative. Secondly, think about your first. How did they transform you or change your outlook in life? So for example, the first time you embarrassed yourself, your first crush, the first time you recognized you hurt someone, the first time you felt depressed or anxious. And the third, think about a time when you changed your opinion about something. What happened? Next is topics. Think about what you are passionate about. How do those things make you feel? Do they make you feel happy, peaceful, angry, confused, worried, disillusioned? The next, what would you like to change about these things? And lastly, what would you like to change about the world? For instance, one thing I want others to understand is that it's never too late or early to do what you want to do. Because you can absolutely start your own business at the age of 20 or 60. You can go back to school at the age of 40 if you wanted to. Everyone, I want you to imagine if you were on your deathbed right now. I want us to ask ourselves, did we accomplish everything we wanted out of life? And if your answer was no, then let's begin to do what actually makes us happy instead of what our parents or peers want us to do instead of pleasing them. And yes, failing is sometimes necessary for us to reach our goal. These are some ways to start thinking of stories or topics that you might want to talk about. Now over to you, Mark.
Great, thank you. So as you can see, we are focusing a lot on emotions, and there is a reason for this. Some good advice is to tune into your emotions and let them guide you as you decide on a story and or topic for your speech. This way, you will be more dedicated to the speech. Also, speeches with emotional resonance will be more captivating. It might be intimidating to reveal what you think is important. As a society, we're usually pitted against one another in competition. You don't have to worry about that here because this is Titan Talks. One story is no more or less valuable than another. the stories, oops, it appears that I lost the PowerPoint. Give me 1 second. At least we're still connected, so that's good.
Thank you guys for your patience.
Yeah, excuse me for 1 second. Okay. Cool, this slide. I like this slide, so that's okay. We'll get to look at this slide longer. Cool, technical difficulties. Okay, we're back. All right, so anyway, so I was trying to say that, don't worry, we're not comparing stories and your story is not more or less valuable than another. The stories don't have to be impressive to connect with the listeners. Instead, just remember that we are all connected through our emotions. When it comes to our emotions, we can't compete with one another. My emotions aren't more or less important than anybody else's. However, our life experiences differ vastly. When it comes down to it, Titan Talks is about sharing and growing. Can your story help to expand someone else's understanding? Can stories you hear help expand yours? My recommendation would be to think about your stories like Instagram versus TikTok. On Instagram, users try to present themselves in the best light for themselves. But on TikTok, users create content for the purpose of the viewer. So don't be concerned with making yourself look good. Your care for the audience will automatically make yourself look good. Another thing I want to mention now is that if you don't, is that you don't have to talk about any subjects that you don't want to. So a good rule of thumb is that if a story you're thinking about makes you feel uncomfortable, then perhaps is not the right time to share it. However, if you do have a story or topic that will take courage to talk about, then know that when you open your heart and allow people to see what makes you you, that act is courageous and is usually rewarded with respect. So now I'm going to pass it off to Jen.
At this time, we are going to break you up into teams of 3 for your initial ideas. So please provide feedback and see how others react to your ideas. We will meet back in 10 minutes. And if you finish early, you can feel free to come back to the main room by choosing the leave option, the red leave option at the bottom, and then it'll say go back to the main room. So